Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. Today we are recording episode 60. Cannot believe it. We're so excited to be here. And today we are bringing you a very special episode, one that definitely hits home for me, and hopefully it'll help my amazing co-host out as well if he ever goes abroad in the near future. Today we will be focusing on Making Friends Abroad, the adult edition. One of our earlier episodes we discussed how to make friends abroad when you're younger, when you study abroad, things like this. But now this is the culmination of 4 months of solid research in the Czech Republic, bringing all this great new information to you. So we're really looking forward to it, and today should be a really fun episode. So without further ado, my fellow co-host and the man with the plan, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello. You're right. Episode 60, that's a big deal. We did Making Friends Abroad High School Edition. Do you know what episode that was?
Oh, geez, you're going to make me look so unprofessional right now. I'm going to take a stab.
I only know because I'm looking at it.
It was after I came to the Czech Republic, so it's got to be, I would say episode 20-something.
Not even close.
Not even, damn. Okay.
Not even close. It was episode 8.
Oh, wow, not close
and not only was it episode 8, but that was, I would say, one of the highlights of the Untranslatable podcast, even today as we record episode 60. Do you remember our episode image for that? It was a picture from Degrassi.
I do.
Next Generation. And it was Drake and some white dude from Degrassi. However, our friend Chris expertly photoshopped our heads on there, and it looks like you and I are young high schoolers making it in the big world.
Right? I think we might need to contact Chris and get another special one for this episode, maybe.
I considered it, but he's since episode 8, he's terrible at getting back to me with them. Like one time he got back, I asked him for one a couple months ago, and he got back to me like weeks after the episode came out. He's like, "Hey, were you still looking for that?" I was like, "Don't worry about it." That episode came out 2 weeks ago. If you want to see pictures like this great episode 8 high school edition picture, if it's not on our Instagram, I'll put it on our Instagram as a little TBT. Does this episode come out on a Thursday? I don't even know. No, it doesn't. This episode comes out on a Monday. Regardless. What the hell am I talking about? Follow us at the Untranslatable podcast on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Or you can email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your untranslatable phrases. Tell us about your experiences making friends abroad. Where were you? How'd you do it? Because I'm terrible at it. Chad's great at it. So, let us know.
I wouldn't say I'm great at it. I'm improving at it.
Or if you want to spread a little love, you can give us some 5-star reviews. You don't have to write an essay or a soliloquy about why we're so great. Just say, "Hey, love the podcast, 5 stars."
Right.
And that'll put a big smile on our face.
Although I would love to hear a soliloquy.
I mean, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying it's not a requirement. We'll be happy if you just say "love the podcast" and give us 5 stars. We'll read it on the podcast and enjoy it thoroughly for everyone if you write us a soliloquy.
That's right. You better believe it. Well, Jared, I got to tell you, man, today has been an interesting day for a few reasons.
Okay.
First of all, shout out to one of my students, an early shout out, but shout out to one of my students, Milan, who took me to this new gym here in Chomutov. And I have done the first set of squats over 100 pounds because the old gym I went to, the bar was so old and flimsy that I'm pretty sure if I would have used over 100 pounds when I went to rack the weight, it would tip the thing over.
100 doesn't seem like that much.
Trust me, the equipment at the gym that I was going to is got to be at least from the 80s, if not sooner.
Yeah, so no one was lifting that much weight back in the 80s.
That's right. That's right. So he took me to a different gym, which was really nice. It was only $2 to get in, which actually cheaper than $2, like $1.60, $1.70 for, you can work out there as long as you want. And I got to say, man, my legs feel like jelly. Straight up jelly. I only did I only went up to 175 pounds, which isn't that much. But my legs feel like jelly. I noticed it. I went to get schnitzel for dinner, and as I stood up from the chair in the restaurant, I realized, oh no, tomorrow or the next day are going to be, those are going to be some rough days.
I mean, I believe it. It's kind of like I was mentioning with like playing music and stuff. Once you get out of it for a bit, it takes a while to get back into it. I feel that way when I mountain bike because I only do it, not in winter and stuff like that. So this first couple ones back, it's a real burn. It's quite the burn. It's like I thought I could do this. It's like, yeah, I guess it's tough when I take a 5-month break.
Oh, absolutely. And this was 4 months of not squatting over 100 pounds. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
This was with your student that showed you this place. Because you were with your student, did you feel a need to really, show him what's what? You're like,
pumped up.
This old dog still got a little life left in him.
That's right.
Check this out. Then
that's exactly.
Crawl home.
Exactly. No, I was just trying to be honest, I was trying to see how difficult it would be. And it was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, which I think is because of all the walking I've been doing.
In your heyday of working out, what were you squatting at?
I mean, I never tried. I never tried to max out on the squat, but I used to be able to do 215 for I think 6 or 7 reps back in the day.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, so now that I'm going to this other gym, though, hopefully I can get past 215. So we'll see.
Yeah,
but
I'm excited to follow you on this journey.
Exactly. But it was good. It was good to go with him. He's a really nice guy, very talkative. Friendly young man. He's 18. He's a fourth-year student here at our school, and we just had a great time. I gave him a couple pointers because I'm a little bit older than him, got almost 10 years on him, and have a little bit of experience in the gym. So gave him some tips with a couple different things in terms of like form and stuff.
Imparting wisdom on the youth.
Exactly. I mean, that is why I'm here. So, why not? But the other crazy thing I saw today, though, or the other crazy thing that happened today was I was walking back after dinner, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this spot in Chomutov, right near where I live, where they had this bar. It's a non-stop bar, meaning it's open 24/7, right? Okay. And I've been told from students that people who go in there are a little interesting. Some might even say shady. And so, anyways, I'm walking back. I pass the bar. I see this guy. And at first, I like rub my eyes because I think I'm seeing like something. I saw his bare ass. His jeans were down. His bare ass was out. I thought, okay, maybe this dude was just like really drunk and maybe took a piss outside or something and didn't pull up his jeans. I don't know. Well, he kept walking, right? I was trying to rationalize it for some weird reason, but anyways, he kept walking forwards, and there were these 2 women sitting on a bench. And then I started to walk past him and kind of walk near him because I figured if he's going to try anything, maybe I should try to help out these women, right? And so they're sitting on this bench. And I don't know what he said to him in Czech, but he walked like kind of past him a little bit, stumbled past him. Full frontal shot for the ladies. They did not appreciate it. They told him what I would imagine would be, get your ass out of here, go fuck yourself in Czech. I don't know those words just yet. Hasn't been in my lesson plans recently. And so thankfully I didn't have to, jump in or do anything. But like, I didn't even know what to think when I saw this kind of go down. I was like, is this really happening right now? And then I also thought, like, either how drunk are you or how stupid are you that you think that's how you're going to attract a woman? Like, just walk up with your pants down to your knees and, like, expose them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he wasn't thinking he was going to take one of them home. But did he say anything? I mean, I guess if he was speaking Czech, you probably wouldn't understand. But.
Well, he said something to him. They were, like, yelling at him, and then he walked away and then pulled his pants up. So... I don't know, but I just do not get what would possess any person. I don't care how drunk you are. I've definitely had a couple drinks back in my day, and never did it ever cross my mind, I'm just going to walk past these ladies with my pants down.
It always kind of annoys me when people blame stuff not even that drastic, but just stuff on being drunk. Even like drunk texting and drunk calling and all that stuff. I don't fully understand that.
Right.
I mean, I guess I understand like why the drunkenness would make you want to do it, but I tend to have the self-control to be like, I don't like I still know that I wouldn't want to do this sober.
Right.
I'm just drunk now.
We need more
maybe I
people
want to
out
do
there
it
like
more.
you, Jared. That's for sure.
Well, let's not get carried away. Easy, Chad.
Slipping on gator piss.
But yeah,
I don't
so
know if I
that
agree with
was
that.
kind of a weird ending to my night. I did not expect that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that one, you were ready to intervene, and two, that you didn't have to.
Right. I don't even really know what I would have done if I would have had to intervene.
I think the sad part is this is you're talking about how shocked you were. I bet you those women were. I mean, I'm sure they were like surprised, but like I'm sure this is not the first time something like this has happened to either of them.
Right. Unfortunately, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think it phased me more than it phased them.
Probably.
Because I don't even think they looked. Like, I think they saw him, probably realized what was going on, and just, told him, like, F off.
I'm sure most women, especially in in the age of cell phones and stuff, have seen unwanted male body parts at some point in their life.
Oh, I would be willing to bet a lot of money. I'm sure most have.
Yeah. Which, this is not great, but this is apparently what our society's turning into.
Right.
Hey,
yeah.
you like that? No, I don't.
Yeah, I just, once again, I guess that's like the 21st century problem. Like, this guy was doing like a 20th century problem, like walking up to the ladies with his pants down. Nowadays, people just like will text you a picture. I still just don't get what goes on people's minds when they're like, well, she didn't say anything, but I'm just going to send her this pic real quick and see if she, like, to me, that just makes no sense whatsoever.
Tip number 1 for how not to make friends abroad as an adult. Drunkenly or soberly, I guess, showing your ass to random strangers is usually not going to work very well.
I don't think it will ever work.
No. But a great place for him to hang out might be the White House. That he could have a great McDonald's spread, and someone at the White House would probably celebrate his ballsiness, the bachelor's word, celebrate his courage and his chutzpah, and that's Donald Trump.
That's true. The hamburger
Did you hear about
king.
this? Did you hear about this? So not only did Clemson College here in Tennessee, I believe, they won
Are they
the
Tennessee
national
or South
champion.
Carolina?
I believe it's Tennessee. They won the national championship in against Alabama, which is a big deal for all of our non-college football playing people because Clemson is in. It isn't. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, it is in South Carolina.
Ooh, all right.
It's a big deal because Alabama's kind of a powerhouse in the college football
for sure.
world. So for a lot of teams, whenever they win, Super Bowls or an NBA or like a college basketball team, any kind of big college or professional sport, when they win, it's kind of a custom for the president to invite them to the White House for a meal. And for the longest time, that's been considered a privilege. Somehow, Donald Trump made it the complete opposite. So he not only served the entire Clemson team a McDonald's feast, but I think he did it with all seriousness. I think he was proud of it. I think he thought they'd think it was cool, and that they would like it because he bragged about it on Twitter, spelling hamburgers wrong.
Hamburgers.
And it was just this there's this brilliant picture of Abraham Lincoln because it's in the Lincoln Room or something like that. I might. Oh, I think I deleted it. I hate having pictures of Trump on my phone.
That's fair.
I sent it to one of my friends the other day, but I deleted it off my phone. It's probably in the messages with her. But anyway, so it's him, and then behind him is just this portrait of what's his name, of Abraham Lincoln, which just the most like disappointing
look,
disapproving look on his face. It is hilarious, and he's just like holding his chin, and it almost looks like you can see him just like shaking his head back and forth, like what has this office come to? And so I had a couple thoughts. First of all, no one is privileged to get McDonald's. No one is privileged to get McDonald's. Like that is what people complain about, where it's like people don't make enough money, and but they can serve their entire family on McDonald's. And it's like, but we ideally don't want that because there's nothing good about McDonald's. First of all, these are elite athletes we're also talking about.
Right.
And not that they don't eat junk or stuff, but it's just a weird thing to serve elite athletes absolute garbage. And Quavo from the Migos, Michael Strahan, and a couple other people offered to give him a proper celebratory meal as well. So that was
as
cool.
They should.
So shout out to them.
As they should. And let me mention that it wasn't just McDonald's. It was Wendy's, Burger King. It was like a smorgasbord of fast food.
That's even more offensive.
I mean, in a way, yes. That's
like someone wearing Nike, Adidas, and Reebok all in one outfit.
Right. Don't forget an
like,
Under
easy,
Armour hat
bro.
on top of it, too.
Yeah. Easy.
but what's really funny about it, or what struck me about it, is, there's that really, infamous picture of Trump standing, looking so proud of himself with all this fast food on like a silver platter with like these fancy candles. And somebody said, yeah, having fast food on a silver platter basically sums up Donald Trump's presidency. Which that was like such a good roast. It was so true.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant.
And then I sent you a message earlier about Burger King's response to Trump saying hamburgers, misspelling hamburgers.
Yes.
Do you have it up, or do you want me to pull it up? Because some of those tweets are just gold.
I mean, I can just pull up their Twitter, I guess.
It's just pure gold. And I also, like, how difficult is it to spell hamburgers correctly? You'd think a man who eats hamburgers all the time would know how to spell hamburgers correctly.
But it's not that he doesn't know how to spell it. I think it speaks to just, like, his lack. Like, it's a simple thing that speaks to his just lack of forethought, lack of awareness, and lack of thinking about what he's doing. Like that, because obviously, I don't think he doesn't know how to spell hamburgers. He misspells on his phone. He like mistypes on his phone like we all do. But the fact that he sends it, as the president, he's sending stuff out so
Right.
quickly without even giving it like simple once over read is what's blows my mind.
Right.
Because I can't shit on him for making. We've all made stupid typos, but
That's
it's just
true.
like how you being the president. With tens of millions of followers and even more millions of people aware of your Twitter, making stupid mistakes like that. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through their Twitter, but it's hard for me to.
I'm trying to find it as well. I mean, it's just so funny though, like the fact that I think I found it. The fact that a major nice. The fact that a major company is trolling the president, just to me also like are we really in 2019? Like, is this really our existence now? And apparently
and
it
it's
is.
shocking. It's shocking that it's a company like Burger King, because they're such a big company that they're the kind of company that is going to take no stance on any sort of or is not touching politics, or you'd think, excuse me, clearly they are, but
Right.
you'd think they're not touching politics with a 10-foot pole. Because they're serving everyone. And they're like, we can't alienate anyone. And the fact that they're making fun of the president's hilarious. So I can read it if you want.
Can I first read
Sure.
his tweet?
Sure.
So he
Read
said,
the response,
great
too.
being with the national champion Clemson Tigers last night at the White House. Because of the shutdown, which he caused, by the way, I served them massive amounts of fast food, in parentheses, I paid, which I also highly doubt, but whatever. Over 1,000 hamburgers, etc., etc. Within 1 hour, it was all gone. Great guys and big eaters. Now, I do believe that they're probably great guys, and they probably are big eaters for sure. I mean, those football players are huge. But,
right, and yeah, I mean, they can definitely put away a lot of calories.
Right. So yeah. So can you read Burger King's tweet for us?
So their tweet is, due to the large order placed yesterday, we're all out of hamburgers. Just serving hamburgers today. Another thing I noticed about this dinner, by the way, no French fries in sight on that table. And how cold was that food?
It had to have been super cold.
The way I work, you got about a 10 to 15 minute window.
Maximum.
And then that shit's ruined.
Right.
It's not that, it's just kind of cold. It's just like, oh, great. I don't want to eat this.
Right.
like
all the grease is like coagulated I
can only imagine ordering it and then getting it driven to the room and then everyone shuffling into the room. People leading them there, and then Trump giving a little speech, and then him saying, "And now you can eat." And the whole time, people just staring at that food. One being like, "What the hell is this?" And two being like, "This stuff's getting cold by the second." There was a dude I saw there that had AirPods in also while he was getting his food.
Nice, that's great. You would think too, if they can have the silver platters and the nice candles out, you would think that they could also have a couple heat lamps to at least keep the food lukewarm or something. I also want to read though this tweet by
some heat lamps. Heat lamps are not classy unless I don't know he has some gold heat lamps or something.
He probably does. I wouldn't put it past him. That'd be pretty crazy, wouldn't it?
Oh my god!
I want to read this tweet though because this tweet is just it's so true. It's from John Zal, at official John Zal. You know the presidency is going well when the fast food chain to whom you gave a bunch of free publicity is dragging you for being an illiterate moron.
Oh, I'm even mad at myself right now for laughing because this is the country we live in and the government's not even operating right now. So.
Right. Oh, this is a good one too.
My God.
Ken Plume said, "Today is the day that at Burger King became president." Oh, that's too good.
Speaking of which, I want to spread a little love real quick.
Let's do it.
And this kind of has to do with not really the meal specifically, but it has to do with the whole shutdown thing. Did you see Cardi B Instagram or tweet it, or I guess she Instagrammed it? I saw it on Twitter. But what she said?
No, what'd she say?
I don't claim to be a Cardi B fan. I think people seem to like her music, and that Bloody Shoe song was good, but or Money Move song was good. But she put something up on Instagram the other day, and talking about the shutdown. And I want to play it for you real quick. It's only a minute.
Oh, nice.
And then we can chat about it. But I'll play it real quick.
We're talking about, but Obama. Hey, y'all, I just want to remind y'all because it's been a little bit over 3 weeks, okay? It's been a little bit over 3 weeks. Trump is now ordering, as in summoning, federal government workers to go back to work without getting paid. Now, I don't want to hear y'all motherfuckers talking about, but Obama shut down the government for 17 days. Yeah, bitch. For healthcare, so your grandma could check her blood pressure, and you bitches could go check your pussy in the gynecologist with no motherfucking problem.
Yes.
Now, I know a lot of y'all don't care because y'all don't work for the government or y'all probably don't even have a job, but this shit is really fucking serious, bro. This shit is crazy. Like, our country is in a hellhole right now, all for a fucking wall. Like, we really need to take this serious. I feel like we need to take some action. I don't know what type of action, bitch, because this is not what I do, but bitch, I'm scared. This is crazy, and I really feel bad for these people that gotta go to fucking work to not get motherfucking paid.
So first of all, shout out to her. And I respect first of all that she says she doesn't know what to do, because so many people won't admit that they don't know what to do. I like that. But so yeah, that was Cardi B. She's a rapper from the Bronx. If you couldn't tell by her accent, she's from New York. Anyway. I'm starting to get really annoyed by people saying, telling like celebrities or whatever to shut up, because people talk about, oh, she sounds so dumb or whatever. Like, they don't take her seriously maybe because she says fuck or whatever. But it's like, I heard nothing but good points there, and
me too.
And this is, I think, part of the reason why people using your platform to speak about what you care about, whatever that is, I think is important. And I think it's awesome. So,
I do too.
Shout out to her.
And
it was funny.
And that's
too.
why we're literally here right now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And along that same vein, I want to spread a little love to a few different companies that have
Spread a
also
little
been
love.
helping out with this government shutdown, providing people with assistance. First of all, this one came way out of left field, but I think it's a really kind of touching story.
The NRA?
No. Kraft, like Kraft mac and cheese, Kraft Foods opens a free grocery store for unpaid workers during the government shutdown. So workers with any valid government ID can take home a bag of groceries. Obviously, they're all Kraft products, so I don't know how great the quality is going to be.
Yeah, but the good thing about Kraft is they own like 16,000 companies. So
Right.
you get a wide arrangement of products. So you can get, I mean, even though, it might not all be high quality, you could probably like do a good, full grocery shop there.
Right. And I just want to read what Sergio Eleuterio, the head of marketing, said. He said that during the government shutdown, parents should not have to worry about putting dinner on the table because they aren't receiving a paycheck. Kraft stands for families, and we want to support the families who have built our brands. This store is one way we can help those affected get the grocery staples they need, and we celebrate all those who are doing their part to help. So big shout out to Kraft. I think this is great. It's really too bad it's come to this. I keep wondering when we record these episodes, Jared, when the government will be back and these people will, have their job, their payback,
We're recording this on Thursday, and this episode comes out on Monday. I'd be curious to see if all of this is still relevant on Monday.
Right. We'll see.
Because, with every day you think, like, this has got to end at some... But it doesn't even seem like it's anywhere close. Like, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like much is happening.
Right.
At least from a citizen's point of view.
Right.
Like, I don't know what's happening in behind the scenes, but I don't see much movement or anything.
Well, from what I've read, and I don't know how true this is. I probably should have read a couple different sources, but from what I've read, the Democrats have been trying to negotiate with the Republicans and get the government back in session. And of course, Turtlehead Senator Mitch McConnell doesn't want to work with them. The irony is that most Republicans are going to blame the Democrats for all of this, and a lot of their staunch supporters are going to just believe them blindly. And you know what? Yes, obviously, I tend to be fairly liberal, but if I find out something that Democrats would do as well, I'm not just going to blindly believe it. And I think a lot of people, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, whoever, they need to do a better job of looking at the media, looking at what the politicians are actually doing. Because I think a lot of the politicians in the United States only care about themselves, only care about getting more money, getting richer, and they don't care about representing the people who put them in office.
Mm-hmm. That was well said. Well, this is not the Rachel Maddow show, so I'm going to continue to spread a little
Let's spread some more love. You're right. Good call.
This is but still, that was very well put. This is a crazy story. Did you hear about Jamie Kloss? Jamie Kloss?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Let's hear the story.
Jamie Kloss is 16 years old, and she was. Hold on, I need my glasses. I feel like such an old person right now.
Well, Jared, sadly, we are getting old.
So she was kidnapped in October. Not only was she kidnapped, but her parents were murdered, and she was kidnapped in October.
Oh, God. Poor girl.
And she was... So she was offered $25,000 by the FBI for any information. And then her parents, I think one of her parents' employers, the FBI offered $25,000 reward for information leading to her rescue. In addition, the Jenny O. Turkey store, the employer of her parents, Denise and James Kloss, added another $25,000 on top of that. But there was no information, and on January 10th, Jamie escaped from from this guy's house. So Jamie was. I don't fully understand what they're saying here, but essentially what they're saying is that she was like kept captive under his bed. In his bed, I think.
Oh, geez.
If I understand this correctly, his bed was like. Imagine it being. His bed frame being stacked up by bricks.
Okay.
And she was under there in the space between his bed and like that little
in the bricks.
in the raised part of his bed. And so one day he was gone for a couple hours, and she got out, and she found someone on the street, and then they went to someone's house, and people at the house recognized her. They called 911, and she's fine now. And the woman that called 911, her last name is Nutter. I can't find what her first name is right now, but it doesn't really matter. And so they're trying to figure out, the police are trying to figure out who the award should go to. And the Nutter, the woman that called, Jean Nutter, the woman that called, that was the neighbor that found her, was saying that, and the people that called, who they're called the Kasanaskas, said the money should go to her.
I agree.
She's the one that was kidnapped and got freed, and you guys are looking for someone to give the money to. She seems like the obvious person, the one that's been the most affected by this.
Right.
And you clearly are looking for someone to give it to. The person that was just walking their dog probably doesn't need random $25,000 reward for anything. But the person that was trapped under this dude's bed could probably use, and lost both of her parents, could probably use some help. And the dude that kidnapped her, I'm not going to say his name, but he was 21 years old.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah.
I hope, I know this is to spread a little love, but I hope he rots in prison.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Shout out to, and he will. He got charged with intentional, 2 counts of intentional homicide and a count of kidnapping and armed burglary. So he's going away for a while, probably. And he's $5 million bail. And he confessed. So that's probably because it'd probably be way worse if he didn't.
Right.
I don't know how. Maybe it's either like death if you don't confess, depending on the state or something like that. But like if you confess, it'll be like a life in prison. I'm not a lawyer.
Me either.
But yeah, so shout out to Jamie for being a gangster and getting out of there. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not cool, but that's great that you were able
She's
to
okay. Absolutely.
persevere for months and then find a chance to and then get the courage to escape like that. Because especially the longer you've been kidnapped, at least from what I've heard, the harder it is to escape. And it's because it just becomes normal at that point.
Right.
And then shout out to the people obviously that helped her.
Absolutely.
And didn't just ignore her when they saw someone who I assume looked a little frantic and probably alarming for someone just walking down the street.
Oh, most definitely.
Not just walk away from her.
Absolutely. Well, Jared,
so that's a crazy story.
I have one more. Yeah, it is. I have one more shout out for our episode today. Have you been following what's going on in LA right now?
No.
There's a huge teacher strike in LA right now.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and so I truly believe what a lot of the teachers have been saying. It's not, the main issue is not pay, but it's just the environment in which they're forced to work in. I was watching a video of this one teacher. He said he's been teaching for, I think, like 15 or 16 years, and he has over 40 students in his class. And,
Damn.
And unless you're in a lecture hall at a university, there is no reason why there should be more than 25 students in your class, ideally, right, in a perfect world. And so these teachers have been striking, and I don't know if I was hungry when I was looking for these shout-outs or what, but turns out that there are taco trucks who are feeding the striking teachers, which I think is awesome. So these taco trucks have been helping out teachers, and I'm trying to see. So
the strike is over.
Go ahead.
So the strike is over. Not like crappy classrooms, but just like large class sizes.
I think it's just working conditions in general, I would imagine.
Okay, because I would wonder how they could, what sort of immediate action they could get on the large class size thing. Is it just a promise that next year, next school year, the classes will be smaller or something like that, and we'll hire more teachers?
You're asking some great questions that I do not have the answer to. I mean, I would assume you would want to hire more teachers. But I think in the United States there needs to be a cultural shift in which teachers are more respected, revered, and also paid better. You know?
Yeah, I think that starts at the paid better part level, which probably starts at some government level.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But that's, I mean, things like that are what sort of make me have no hope for the world, though. Is because, it's like for things to change, we need these giant cultural and like societal changes. It's like, does society work like that, or is it like we're racing progress versus,
right,
regress? Like we're sort of fighting that, when like two superpowers, like you see a red and a green lightsaber like hit each other, and they're both like pushing hard, and it's like, which way is winning?
Right.
And I don't know. But
me
what I
either.
do when I get all existential and depressed like that is I just sort of zone out with a beer.
That's right. Good call.
And this one I'm excited for, and I'll show you why. You'll see why I'm excited in a second.
I'm excited to see it. To all of our listeners out there, Jared even told me. Usually, Jared doesn't tell me beforehand that he's excited about the beer of the pod. So, this ought to be a special one. I think I'm really looking forward to it.
What if it just? Sorry,
Well, if it's like a Bud Light or a Miller Light, I'm gonna be so angry.
No, I was gonna say, what if it like had your face on it or something?
What?
Yeah, dude.
What? Are you serious?
I don't want to put it too close
Oh
because
my
I don't.
God,
It's
that is
dripping.
amazing. Where did you find that?
So Chad is flabbergasted because I have a Steam Brew Imperial IPA. If you guys remember, not last episode, but the episode before that, Chad did a beer of the pod review, and he brought a Steam Brew German Red. And so I went to one of my local beer stores that I often go to for beer of the pods, and I was just looking around, and I just saw that steampunk logo, but in a different color. I was like, well, I know what I'm getting, and there was no hesitation.
That literally just blew my mind.
It's weird. There is. So this beer has some sort of connection to Lidl that I'm not fully sure about, because there's a lot of talk about it being sold at Lidl, and then also I could not find a website on this beer at all. Like, no website. And I found a website for the actual producer of the beer, but it's like some sort of shitty website that doesn't even reference the actual Steam Brew line at all. So, is this like a steampunk thing to have like a super low-key beer?
Probably.
I don't know much about steampunk except for there's a lot of gears involved.
Right. Exactly. Sounds about right. So I gotta ask, Jared, did you find that at Lidl?
No, it was like a beer supply kind of store.
Interesting.
But they always have. I mean, they have like all your staples, but they always have like a refrigerated section that has a lot. Like that's where I've gotten, I'd say, 80% of my beer of the pound.
Oh, nice. Man, what are the odds? Oh my God, that is so crazy on so many levels.
I know. And it's actually surprisingly cheap, too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop it open. So it's an Imperial IPA. And as Chad mentioned 2 episodes ago, let's oil the gears of life.
That's right.
And it's an Imperial IPA. It's 7.8%, I believe.
So that one's a lot stronger than mine.
It is, but that's the nature of the Imperial IPA.
That is true.
Notice the... I like it's a theater of the mind for everyone here.
Exactly.
Like
we might even just be drinking Coca-Cola. They have no idea. I guess our pictures prove it.
It's also a pint as well, by the way. I wanted to mention that.
I also got to say, Jared's pouring it right now, and I got to say I like the color.
Me too.
That's a good looking color.
It's a very like red kind of ambery red. And it's a little hazy, but you can't fully tell because of that red color. But yeah, it is a very nice color. It smells like an IPA, but it doesn't smell like...
What exactly does an IPA smell like?
Like there's always like slight fruitiness to it, to the IPA smell.
But also some hops or...
Yes, hops and fruit, I would say. Like a citrusy sort of smell.
Okay.
Mixed with hops.
Jared's
not that good.
tasting it.
It's not that good.
Okay.
It's not that it's bad, and it's not that it's not that good. That was not the right answer. I'll tell you what it reminds me of, actually. This was a beer of the pot from long ago. It reminds me of the Last Chance IPA. Remember that beer that had the dog on the side of it?
Yeah.
Kind of tastes like that, but with less flavor to it. Like less complete of a flavor.
So are you getting any hints of anything from the taste? Good aftertaste? What do you think?
It's like it's kind of got like this tangy taste to it, but there's not much. It just doesn't taste like there's much like flavor, like the flavors aren't noticeable enough to me.
Okay.
And I'm saying that's one of the downsides of it. And I'm not saying I can't figure it out. I'm saying it's not clear enough, and it's not bad. Like I'm not gonna not enjoy drinking this. It's just not. It's not. There's not that much complexity going on there.
Right. So would you actually, if you were at a bar or a restaurant, would you actually like go out and buy this one or?
Maybe. Like if depending on what else was on the menu, maybe I would. It probably wouldn't be my first choice, but like if I didn't recognize anything else, and I was just like, oh, what? No, I probably wouldn't, because if I didn't recognize anything else, I'd probably just try something new and just pick something at random, like some other random IPA, and maybe I'd stumble upon something new. So it's an interesting beer, and it just tastes simple. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And I think that's fair because that kind of speaks to the price of it. It was a 4-pack of pints, and it was like $9.
Oh, that's
which is
pretty cheap.
Not that bad. That's pretty cheap. I think it's but that speaks to also the fact that it's a Lidl beer.
Right.
But yeah, it's not bad. I'll give him this. I love the can. Love the can.
Oh, the logos are fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
but I'll
crazy.
still enjoy this one, and I'll drink the other 3.
Might as well at this point, right?
Right. But yeah, I had to try it out. That was a nice little surprise.
Nice. That's awesome,
So
dude.
that's the Steam Brew Imperial IPA.
I cannot believe it. It's like I feel like it's like in what movie is that? Where they talk about looking up at the moon, and they're like parents are looking too. I feel like for me, I could be drinking my steam brew beer while you're drinking your steam brew beer across the ocean.
It's like we're right next to each other.
That's right.
Podcasting as we hug each other and share one microphone.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, that's just a hilarious image to me. We're just cheek to cheek.
Oh man, we should be the spokespeople for this steam brew. That's too funny.
Sipping on our different colored steam brews.
Exactly.
He's a German red and I'm an Imperial IPA.
Oh, that's great. That's too good.
So yeah. Anyway, you know what time it is? Because I know what time it is.
It's definitely time for some new untranslatables.
I think so.
Oh,
Untranslatables.
yep.
I'm trying to get into the habit of explaining what it is. This is the Untranslatable Owl. And untranslatables are phrases, idioms, proverbs, sayings that your grandma used to always say to you that you always took to heart but never fully knew what she was saying. Chad and I love those, and we like finding ones in different languages and trying to figure out what they mean in English. So
Exactly.
I'll start it off if you want. How many do you have?
Yes, please. I have 2 Czech ones.
Okay, I have 3, so I'll start it off. The first one is Portuguese, specifically Brazil, and it's enfiado pé na jaca. And it means to put your feet in the jaca. And jaca is like a jackfruit, I believe, which is a
Okay.
tropical Brazilian fruit known for being very sticky.
Oh, okay.
To put your feet in the jaca.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the stickiness of the fruit is important to know, yeah?
Not really, no.
No, because I was gonna guess it's like if you get, as we say in English, get into a sticky situation.
Kind of. You're on the right track,
Okay.
but it's not that kind of. It's a specific sticky situation.
What?
It's a specific kind of sticky situation. I mean, I can give you an example if you'd like.
Yes, please.
So, I'm sipping on this steam brew, and who knows how long this podcast could go. I might drink 3 or 4 of these puppies just in the during the podcast, but you'll know because I would have put my feet in the jaka by the end of the episode, and I'll be slurring my words, and it'll be a mess.
So does it just mean to get drunk?
Yeah.
Really?
We have a English untranslatable that is similar. Can you think of what the English version would be? How we'd say to get drunk? I mean, we have a lot of ways to say drunk.
I was just going to say there are too many ways.
It's not like hammered. It's like a phrase.
And does it have to do with feet or what is it?
No. It has to do with making your bed. Not really, but
I'm lost.
3 sheets to the wind.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
I never use it, but I've heard it plenty of times, and I know what it means. Yeah, 3 sheets to the wind just means you're hammered.
Oh, I like that. Okay. 3 sheets to the wind. Teaching me some new stuff today, Jared. Very nice.
There you go. All right, so Jared, if you remember correctly, I believe it was the last episode, I gave you a Dutch phrase that was like, have a mouthful of teeth or something, right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that meant that you are speechless, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now I have a Czech one that's similar, but has a very different meaning. So this is mám toho plné zuby, which means that their teeth are full, or to have full teeth. Mám toho plné zuby.
Really have to pee? You have to pee really bad?
Nope.
Okay. It's always funny to me why I'm like, it's like, why are you so confident that that's what it is?
Right.
And I think I know it.
I love the confidence though. Keep it going.
Mouthful of teeth. Is it like you're holding onto a secret or something?
No, and it's not mouthful of teeth, but your teeth are full.
Teeth are full. Oh, okay. What is it? Give it to me.
Well, the Germans will say that they have their nose full.
I don't know.
Means to be fed up.
Oh, okay.
So this is something you don't want your friends abroad to be saying about you in Czech.
Just different ways of saying you're like, I'm filled to the brim with rage right now.
Right.
I'm right here. You got me right here.
Exactly. What do we say in English for that? Because
you're on my last nerve, or you think like specifically having to do with like overflowing,
right? Or like
like I'm about to blow my lid or blow my top.
That's true.
That has to do with overflowing, kind of.
Right. And as I said, the Germans will say like ich hab die Nase voll. My nose is full. Right. But yeah. Anyways, let's hear your other untranslatable, Jared.
My next one is also Portuguese from Brazil, and it's cara de pau. Which
means what?
Wood face, or I assume face of wood would be my guess. Face of wood.
So is this like a poker face?
No.
Okay. Face of wood. Is this like if you're just really serious?
No.
Can you give me an example?
The example, the example that the website gives me, I want to use. So it says, why face of wood? Try punching a piece of wood. Did it flinch? I don't think so.
Oh, so it's like if you're like not easily spooked or startled? Yeah?
Not really. No, it's actually, so someone that has a face of wood is someone that is, for example, someone that's like, someone that's hammered, someone that's 3 sheets to the wind, someone that's got their feet in the jaka, and say they run into Conor McGregor at like the bar, and they're like, "Hey, Conor, you're a wimp. I got a brown belt. I could take you." And it's someone that's essentially brazen and a shameless person, like someone that's just like wait, like so it's like you're shameless to in the face of stupidity, essentially.
Okay. All right. Nice. Good to know. Well, Jared, do you think either of us have a face made of wood or a face of wood?
No, I'm full of shame.
Fair enough. I also don't have a face of wood. All right. So my last one is Czech, and it is jeze stejného těsta, which means to be made from the same dough.
Cut from the same cloth?
Yes, sir. Hit that ham horn, my dude.
You and I are cut from the same cloth.
That's right.
So is it like we're like the same kind of person? We kind of have the same personality and
Exactly.
get along very well. We understand each other.
I wanted to get one that was kind of related to Friends, so I thought that would be a good one.
My next one's related to Friends as well. It's French. Avoir le gueule de bois. I don't know how to say that word. Gueule de bois. And avoir le gueule de bois
something.
means to. No, avoir is to have. To have a mouth of wood.
To have a mouth of wood is what that means?
Yep, more wood, baby.
To have a mouth
Bad
of
choice of
wood.
words there.
That should be a drop
No,
right
actually,
there.
it is very similar to kind of our previous two. Like it's in the same line. So think about being 3 sheets to the wind. Think about having a wood face, and then think about yourself the next morning.
Oh, so it just means you're hungover.
Yep. To have a mouth of wood is to be hungover.
That's fair. All right, that's fair. Nice.
A mouth of wood. Maybe is it because your mouth is like really dry or something?
Could
I
be.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or,
That's a good question. You should ask one of our friends who speaks French. Ask Laura. See if she knows it.
Well, yeah, my sister speaks French. No offense, but she speaks better French than Laura.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So yeah, that doesn't really have to do with making friends, but a lot of my adult making friend situations involved alcohol. That's for sure.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, let's head into the main segment and talk about making friends abroad, or just in general, really, as an adult, because it definitely does get a lot more difficult as you get older, right? You have more responsibilities. People usually are set within their own friendship circles. So if you move
You're put in situations when you're younger that surround you by people your age.
exactly,
You don't have that many people that are put in front of you as an adult as well, outside of work, but that's a different dynamic.
right. I just want to ask,
Most times.
how do you feel about work friends?
Not a big fan. I feel like I need to loosen up a little bit. But I'm just very nervous about mixing work and pleasure.
That's fair.
I've gotten a drink with my coworkers once, and we had a like this sort of convention thing out in a city sort of outside of Philadelphia. And we had like a sales convention thing, so we had to present, and it was kind of a big deal for us. So after, we're like, oh, let's go get dinner after. And we all went to a local little bar restaurant. And even I felt like uncomfortable having more than like a beer. And these were my immediate coworkers. So the oldest person, like it was me who's 20, well, I was probably 26 at the time. And then the oldest person there was probably like 30. So it's not like I was with like the CEO or something.
Right.
It's just like when I always feel like I'm always sort of on defense a little bit. Like I don't like always making sure you're not I'm not revealing too much. But I think I take it a little too far sometimes, and it would behoove me to make friends with coworkers.
Right.
I don't know.
But, I see exactly where you're coming from with the whole separating work and play. And that's not always a bad thing, Yeah, I mean, I think the most difficult thing about making friends as an adult, whether you just move to a new city or you're like me and you move across the ocean, is you just have to be aware and accept the fact that no matter what, you have to get out of your comfort zone. There's really no way you can do it without getting out of your comfort zone, unless you're already very comfortable just chatting up strangers and meeting random people.
Unless your comfort zone is chatting up strangers,
Right.
which it is for probably like 50% of the population. That's just a guess. I don't know. I just made up half the population's outgoing and the other half's not.
I mean, there are
assumption?
definitely a lot of extroverted people out there that I'm sure do enjoy it, and there are a lot of moments where I started to notice there are a lot of moments when I feel a lot of regret or guilt when I don't talk to someone. If I have an opportunity to and then I don't take it. Now I notice like obviously you can't cry over spilled milk, but when I was at the ball, there were a lot of people that I could have talked to and I didn't. And I was thinking about it in retrospect, and I was like, some of those people could have been really cool, and maybe I could have made a couple really good friends out of it, So now, and that leads me to another one of my points, which is not only do you need to get out of your comfort zone, but you also sometimes have to be a yes man or a yes woman where, you meet somebody new. What you don't want to do is meet someone new and then they invite you out and you're too tired or whatever. And you just say, oh no, I'll go next
it's not
time.
your thing.
Because I think after 2 or 3 times of you declining plans, they're just not going to invite you anymore.
Right. Yeah. I agree with all of that. I would say that, especially in like today, making friends for me personally is harder than dating, because dating at least has all the app stuff like that makes dating a lot easier.
That's true
for people, and making friends is way harder. And I'm terrible at it, by the way. If you guys didn't know that, I haven't listened to one episode or me say anything. I'm terrible at it. I had a friend that he still lives there, but he lives literally like 30 minutes down 30 seconds down the street from me. 30 minutes. He's right there. It's just like a 30-minute drive.
I was wondering where
then
you
I
were
gotta
going
hop
with
on a
that
train
when you said 30 minutes, but
no, he's 30 seconds down the road from me, and I met him at a party like a couple years ago. And, we got to chatting at the party, and I found out that he's from Ohio. That he worked at the auto show in Detroit a lot because he does rigging of like lights and sound systems, all that stuff.
Okay.
Oh, it's cool. He showed me pictures and stuff, and he's set up some crazy concerts at some pretty big venues.
That's awesome.
And it's pretty awesome. And so we started, we exchanged contact information, and I felt so proud of myself. I was like, "Holy shit, I made a friend!"
Right.
And so we hung out we hung out from time to time. And then like a couple months ago, we just kind of stopped hanging out, and I haven't seen him in probably like over like 6, 7, 8 months. And I know he still lives there because I drive past this place when I go to work, and I see his car from time to time. So he's there,
bro. You gotta just text him and be like, "Let's get a beer."
I think I think I got to a point where I started thinking or convincing myself that he's like that I'm just like a charity case and that he doesn't really want to hang out with me. And so now that it's been so long, I feel like I've been confirmed, but I haven't said anything either. So
right, yeah.
So that's kind of ridiculous.
But see, and that brings another really good point though, Jared, that you can't go into any new friendship or even dating or relationship thinking you're a charity case. Because look, Jared, I can tell you as a friend of yours for a long time.
No, let's not do this.
You're an awesome guy. You're a lot of fun to hang out with, and you're not a charity case. But I know where you're coming from. It's very normal, I think, to worry, oh, am I bothering them? Am I being annoying? Right.
And that's why it's also easier to date as well. It's because you have certain things like kissing or something to be like, oh, I think this person likes me because she willingly kissed me and wanted to do it again or something. Or it's like, I'm drinking a beer, joke around with this dude and be like, does he like me? Or it's like, It's just like, I don't know. I'm not gonna try to kiss him at the end of this. I don't. It's like
that's probably a good way to lose a friend. Yeah,
it's hard, or make a very good friend.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, like it's hard to get those sort of clear signs that someone likes you when it's a platonic friendship and not some sort of romantic situation.
I mean, that's why you gotta put yourself out there to a level. And I mean, honestly, man, the thing I've learned about going abroad, especially this time where I came abroad, and other than my colleagues at school, I knew literally no one at all, right? And I got here, and one thing I've learned is if you just engage with people and if you ask them about themselves, it's amazing how quickly and easily they will want to be friends with you. And obviously, I'm a little fortunate here. I have the kind of exotic foreigner. I'm doing air quotes right now. Jared can see. I'm like the exotic foreigner here.
No, he's not.
Because
he's nodding along a bit and doing eyebrows at me, actually.
That's right. Winking as well. But, and so obviously that does put me at an advantage being here because, I'm, as far as I know, I think I'm the only American in my town. And so that obviously helps me a little bit. But at the same time, I think if I didn't show interest in these other people and just ranted about myself or the United States or whatever, I think the friendships would end very quickly and they wouldn't be very, solid friendships. So being able to put yourself out there and not only putting yourself out there, but, like that guy you met, sometimes you just got to say like, hey man, you're a cool dude and I like hanging out with you. And it's really surprising.
Literally, like, I felt butterflies when you just said that to me.
Exactly. See? It's powerful.
I'm like, oh, God.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, I think a lot of us are really afraid, especially, we're both men here, and I feel like a lot of guys are really afraid to say things like that,
Right.
Because it's like, you don't want to get emotional and sentimental. But at the same time, It's like, I don't think there's anything negative telling somebody, hey, you're cool, and I have fun chilling with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So try that out. No. That's your homework, Jared. Try that out next time you meet a new friend.
I actually wrote that down on here that we could turn this whole episode or this whole podcast from here on out into like a cognitive behavioral therapy session. And like assign me like tasks on how to make friends.
Oh, I would love that.
Go out to the because there are a couple other things I thought of, and these are some things that I want to implement in 2019 regardless is find activities that you like and do them. Mm-hmm. And so, like, whenever I say that or someone says that to me, my excuse is then going to be, oh, I've done that. Just unfortunately, all the activities I like either are solo activities or I'm surrounded by old people. Like if I go to the chamber concert, none of those people are going to be my friends. The youngest person there was 65 besides for me. That's actually not true. Not at the last one, but that's usually how it is. And and so find activities that you like and do them. I want to start doing yoga. Because I'm not very flexible, and then also, like, I have headphones in or I'm listening to podcast or music all day long, as I've talked about, from waking up to going to bed. And I would like to also use that yoga to channel in like a little meditating, just to like get out of my.
That's a great idea.
Like be able to get into my head, not even get out of my head, be able to like actually think and not just drown out my thoughts.
And it's good for your health as well. Can I say though? I'm going to be nitpicky this episode just because.
Please,
I'm going to.
Okay, I can take it,
and I want to. But you mentioned that when you go to the chamber concerts, everyone's 65 years and older. I got to ask you though, man, why can't they be your friends? Why does it matter how old they are?
Yeah, that's true. Listen to me talking like an ageist. I just had an episode. We just have an episode where I said ageism's a problem, true. And I'm like, I don't want to be friends with these old people. They have nothing to offer me.
because what I could tell you is one. It would be easy to strike up a conversation with these people because you're there for the same reason. You're all music lovers. Right. That's very clear.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like they're smarter than me as far as music goes. I'm like, I don't understand.
But see, that's
this music
great
like you
though.
Guys do.
That gives you an opportunity to learn a lot more about music.
That's a good point.
Like if I were there, dude, I would be nerding out so hard the entire time.
I mean, I've never stayed longer than like 10 minutes after one of those things ends, and there's like a little reception thing after, and I just leave.
Right.
So the next one's in March. Mm-hmm. I'll stick around.
All right.
And you know what? I'm mad at myself because I don't know if we're supposed to do this professional. Like I don't know if this is a professional thing to do. But I emailed Zubstrom and he never emailed us back.
Right.
And all I keep thinking was if I would have just said, "Oh, great job at the concert,"
right,
then it would have been a whole different story.
That's true. That's very true.
If I would have made that introduction at the concert rather than just emailing, I'm saying great concert.
Right.
So yeah, stuff like that I think is definitely something to keep in mind. Another activity I want to do, because even though I want to do yoga, I still don't think that's the best place to really strike up conversation. Mm-hmm. It's a very quiet, usually a very solitary thing, even though you can be in classes with a lot of people. I also want to join a soccer league. Because I like to play soccer, as you know, you and I used to always play.
Yep.
And that's a great way to obviously be social and meet
perfect
people.
way. And you should try to.
And I'm good too.
Let me tell you from experience. You need to find a soccer league that's a beer league, so you can go out and grab drinks with your teammates after. Because that's what I did the last 2 summers while I was still living in East Lansing. And
not related to your school, or was it like through your
It was completely different. It was it was called My Life. They also have them in Ann Arbor as well, and I think Grand Rapids. And we would always afterwards usually stay for beers. When I was finishing my master's thesis, there were a couple games where I would go to the game, then I'd just go straight home. But usually I would try to stay for a beer or two, and it was a really great way to bond with your teammates, get to know everybody, share some laughs. It was really fantastic. I also want to mention
those people at bars before. All I said was I've seen those like people with their blah 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 soccer league
Exactly.
with some stupid name,
Exactly.
some stupid pun
But
or something.
it's a great time. I would highly recommend it to anybody out there. The other thing I wanted to mention
Alcohol
too.
kicks.
Exactly.
That's what my beer league's name.
That's right. The other thing though that I want to mention too, Jared, is I think if you approach friendships kind of similar to dating, you might have higher quality friendships, or at least maybe longer friendships, because you might be more willing to say things like that was a good time, let's hang out again sometime. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because obviously with the date, there's a little bit different motivation doing that. You're attracted to them or whatever. But I think it's also important to definitely be able to spend some time with your friends and do things. And another thing I'd like to mention is you mentioned like there are dating apps out there, right? Which definitely makes dating life easier for a lot of reasons. There are a couple websites or apps that I would suggest to all of our listeners and to you as well. One that I learned from Annabelle, who was a guest on our podcast a while ago, that I recently got a couch surfing account, and there are some awesome hangouts. So you can get couch surfing if you want to stay at places or offer up your place, but couch surfing also has couch surfing hangouts, where that's where I met one of my friends in Prague, who's a really cool guy. I'll probably see him this weekend as well. And he actually took me to this, I've mentioned it on the podcast. He's the one who took me to the secret bar in Prague, where I've also met more friends. So just through that one couch surfing meetup, I met at least 4 or 5 people.
Right. Another one that can offer a similar sort of thing is the app called Meetup.
Yep.
And it doesn't have the crowd surfing aspect to it, but it has activities like that. Another thing I considered, and this is not something that I'm going to do this in 2019, but it probably would be useful, is maybe finding a language buddy, someone that speaks German, and maybe they're trying to work on their English or something.
That's a great idea.
And because my German is only getting worse by the day. Not that it's not that it's gone, but it's only getting worse as the more I don't use it. And so, maybe if I could find someone where we can get a coffee or go to the bar and get a beer or something.
I would suggest a beer for sure. If you're speaking
Speak German over a steam brew. And there's a place right down the street from me called Frankfurt Hall, which is kind of like a German style beer garden. They have
nice.
like an outdoor area with benches and a bunch of German beers on tap.
Sounds very gemütlich.
Yeah, people can really just triangulate my home.
Right.
So yeah, I think finding activities that put you in those situations is key. I don't do that.
Right.
All my even that dude I'm telling you about that lives down the street from me, he actually mountain bikes as well. And I've met some of his friends, and one of his friends is a car nerd that also mountain bikes. And he's like, you should come with us sometime. And I'm like, and I don't want to do it because one, I'm sure they're so much better than me. And I'm like, I'm not.
But that's how you get better.
I'm not trying to either slow you guys down or just get embarrassed by getting dusted.
Yeah, but I mean, worst case scenario, you go once and you slow them down a little bit, or you get dusted, and then you don't go again. But what if you go there and you're better than them, or you can keep up with them?
I don't see that happening, but they bike way more than I do. But maybe I could. I mean, I don't know. I can find 16,000 reasons why they wouldn't be better than me, but it's not useless. It's useless going through them.
Right. Well, and I think the big thing is, once again, this goes back to the whole, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to be a charity or a chore. But I think sometimes you just got to go out on a limb and give it a try, And worse, I would rather, especially the older I get, I would rather try and fail than, honestly, man, that sense of regret and disappointment after being like, man, I should have just done it, to me is far worse than what would have happened if I would have just failed, Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of those what would have happened situations.
Right.
Where people even handed it over to me on a platter. I'm like, I don't want to.
Right.
I'll step out of the situation just because I guess scared is the answer. It was the reason why. Who knows?
Right.
So this episode is called Making Friends Abroad. All we've done is listen to me complain about, which I'm not even complaining, but Have you noticed a difference in your travels abroad and making friends in various countries, including America, on what your approach is or how hard or easy it is?
So you mean like culturally or what do you mean?
Yeah, like when I made friends in Germany, the trick for me was versus that doesn't really work now that I'm in the Czech Republic.
Yeah. Well, in Germany for me, Germany and Austria, for me it's a different situation because, as you know, Jared, and probably a lot of our listeners by now, I've been a big German nerd for years. I was super motivated to learn the language. I love every opportunity I can get to speak it. And so for me, going to Germany and Austria, I guess I don't view it as necessarily making friends, but practicing my German, which is probably not the best outlook to have. And maybe some people maybe feel like I'm using them to practice my German. But at the same time, like, for me, I would rather just strike up a conversation. And usually because I'm in a foreign country, it's easy to facilitate a conversation about a lot of different things, right? People will usually hear my accent. One of my favorite things to do when they hear it, if I'm speaking German, is I say, "Where do you think I'm from?" And I get all sorts of crazy answers, which also is kind of a confidence booster. I'm not going to lie, because the first guess is never the United States of America. I'll get Belgium or France, Netherlands, but I won't usually get the United States of America. And then when I tell them, a lot of the times they don't believe me and they think I'm pulling their leg or something, or I'm joking around. And then I have to pull out my Michigan driver's license and then they'll believe me. But
pulling a leg.
Exactly. But anyway, so for Germany and Austria, it was usually fairly easy for me to make friends. I have quite a few really good friends in Germany. I have to say, though, I don't know if it's, well, actually, no, I've spent more time collectively in Austria than I did in Germany, but I would say I have more German friends. And I think that's because culturally, at least the regions where I was in Germany, people tend to be very friendly and open, which tends to be areas near Cologne, areas near the Rhine. They tend to be very open, very friendly. I would even equate it to Midwestern friendliness, right? Whereas,
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Whereas Austria, especially Vienna, being a big city.
To Midwestern friendliness.
What?
I'm okay. I'll take your word for it.
I mean, a lot of people who live in the Rhineland, as they call it, will say they're very like warmherzig or warm-hearted, and they're very friendly.
Okay.
And a lot of them have a good sense of humor. They like to have a good time, so it makes it easier to make friends, right? Whereas Vienna, it's such a big city. I think people tend to be more focused on themselves. Austrians in general, I think, are a little bit more reserved. Not all of them, but a lot of them tend to be more reserved. And it takes a lot of time for you to kind of become friends with them, right? Whereas a lot.
So would you say that means you have to take more of an effort?
Oh, 100%.
To make it happen,
100%.
then?
Not only more effort, but just more time. To me, it tends to take longer. And I would also say it's similar in the Czech Republic. I have quite a few fantastic friends here, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of them I've met through school or through a coworker or a friend of a friend. And some of them are also my students that I would definitely call my friends as well, which is also kind of a weird situation because the moment I step in the classroom, I'm sorry, but I can't be your friend right now. I'm your teacher, and it's not that I don't want to be their friends while I'm teaching them, but, I'm there to also help them learn English, improve their English, and get a good education. So there, there are certain priorities and also certain boundaries that I'm not willing to cross with my students. But what's important is that I think you just have to kind of keep, you have to just persevere, keep talking, keep going and doing things with them. And eventually with the Czech people that I'm friends with and also the Austrians, it just seems to take a little bit more time. But I would also say that people that I've become friends with in almost every country abroad, not only Germany, Austria, Czech Republic, but I have friends in Brazil, Tunisia, all over the place. And these people who I would consider my friends also strike me as people who will be friends for the rest of my life, right?
Oh, that's good.
These aren't just some fair weather friends who hang out with you when it's convenient, but they'll randomly send you a message on Facebook since we're not in the same country, or Skype or whatever. And that's the other thing though that's important when you make friends abroad. It's really important to maintain those friendships, and stay in contact. And it's natural, I think, for the contact to slowly diminish over time, just because people get busy living their lives. But even just a hey, I hope you're doing good, I think goes a long way.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm bad at that with my good friends and family.
Me too.
I'm good at replying, but I'm never good at reaching out, and I don't know what that is. You look like a reverse version of. It's so funny looking at you because I can only see like from your nose, from your nose down.
Better?
Yeah, that's better. Sorry, it was just. What were we saying? Oh yeah, reaching out is a hard thing, and I don't know what it is that's hard about it because it's not like with the people that I'm bad at reaching out to. I mean, it's everyone. But there are specifically people where it's like, it's not like it's my family where it's not like I'm nervous that I'm bothering them, or like my close friends where I don't think I'd be bothering them. But I still never do it. And I think some of that honestly has to, well, I don't know what it is, but a lot of it I feel like has to do with this podcast listening and cherishing my free time. I used to, since I've lived here in Philadelphia, I've made friends here and there, but generally I wouldn't say I have any like friends here. And for the longest time, I would, like my parents or my family would ask me, oh, are you making any friends in Philadelphia? And I would just lie because what's the alternative to that?
Right.
Like, it's almost like saying, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm suicidal.
Right.
That's not true, by the way. That's just an example. But it's just like, what sort of response are you looking for to that? And so I'm also like, I guess I'm okay with it, not making friends, but it's also like it doesn't seem sustainable for a long period of time. It's like, how long am I going to be okay with this before I'm going to like slowly realize that I've turned insane,
Right?
And that I'm growing like lesions on my back or something. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
And I hate to break it to you, Jared, but there's a lot of studies that show that quality of life is usually measured by the relationships and friendships you have, not money or status or anything like that.
Right. Well, yeah, and I do have friends, just not in my home, not in Philadelphia. But I have like friends from college and stuff that I talk to pretty common. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would definitely say that. Are you one to say when you go out to a bar or something, strike up a conversation with a stranger there?
Oh yeah, I have to admit, I'm much less likely to do that here in the Czech Republic because my Czech is still trash. And
Trash.
And I also feel bad. It's weird. In Germany and Austria, I get the feeling from most people, they're kind of excited at the opportunity to speak English. And here, the reactions I usually get is there's a few people I've met here who seem genuinely excited to be able to practice their English, but I think a lot of people are just very intimidated. And I think they have this mindset that if they make a mistake, I'm going to automatically think they're stupid, or if they make a mistake, I'm going to like laugh at them or something. And I really wish for all those people out there, and any of you listening to this, any of our foreign listeners out there, or I guess non-native English speakers out there, native speakers are not going to listen to you and like go home and like talk to their friends and be like, yeah, so I was at the bar
What an idiot.
and I met this Czech guy and he said
He pronounced squirrel wrong.
exactly. It's
What an idiot.
But what's funny is I think in any case we are always or almost always our worst and harshest critics, right? And so people who are worried about making a mistake or sounding stupid, I might not even catch it. Like the only time I really listen for mistakes is when I'm teaching. Otherwise, I don't really care because I'm not teaching you right now. I'm just having a conversation with you. And unless the mistake is so bad that it's hindering the communication and their message, which rarely happens, then it's all going to be fine, right? But in Germany and Austria, I would usually go out by myself a lot and just strike up conversations with people at the bar. I'll never forget, I was in Koblenz. This was 2016, summer of 2016. I was there with my parents. And usually when I travel with my parents, they're older, so they tend to go to bed early. And so I'm kind of like twiddling my thumbs, and I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to do? So I usually just
like
tend to
30.
go out myself. Exactly. And I tend to go out by myself. And I was walking to this one bar, and these German guys in German told me, like, stop, there's like a mouse by your feet. And I was like, what? Like, really? And apparently there wasn't. It ran away. And that right there started a conversation, and we hung out.
Why'd they say stop? What'd they think? It was going to attack you or something?
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe
smell your
maybe they
fear.
didn't want me to step on it. I have no idea.
Oh.
But
That would be gross.
But we hung out the rest of the night and had a great time. And because I was only in Koblenz for the weekend, I should have exchanged contacts or something, but I didn't. But So yeah, and I think the thing is though, with making friends anywhere, regardless if you're abroad or not, you just need to be brave and go to things alone. And I think the key to doing things alone is you can't feel bad about yourself. It's really easy to I go out to eat here in Chomutov very often by myself. And sometimes I think if I went into a restaurant thinking like people will see me and be like, oh, how sad, like whatever, I look at it as, hey, look, I like this food at this place. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat when I want to eat, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to change the mindset where you don't feel like pity for yourself or, oh, I'm such a loser because I'm eating dinner by myself. It's like, no, go do what you want. And that's the beauty of doing things alone is, if you go to a bar alone and you're not having a good time, you can go home, right? You go to the bar with your friends and they're having a great time, but you're having a horrible time. You're probably still going to have to stay there for a while.
Leave. I would still leave, but I get what you're saying.
You'd pull the old Irish exit.
Yeah, it's my signature move.
Where'd Jared go? He left like an hour ago.
When I first moved here, I would go to the bar by myself more often. Honestly, now I couldn't tell you the last time I did that. So yeah, we need to make some goals.
We should
through this podcast.
We should. I agree.
First goal is I'll go to the bar by myself this weekend.
All right.
And I'll tell you about it on our episode on Sunday.
Sounds good. I obviously can't do it because I will be with a friend this weekend. But I tell
regret
here, Jared.
making
Let's do this. You go to the bar alone. I want you to give me a homework assignment for the next episode as well. You don't have to do it right this second. Think about it for a minute. I want a homework assignment as well, and we'll talk about it on our next episode. I think this will be fun.
Okay.
So yeah, but back to the going places alone. I think going places alone also, it's a really good growing and learning experience. Like the 2 summers I spent in Germany while I was teaching there, a lot of times I would travel by myself. And when I would go places alone, it was basically sink or swim, right? You either sit there by yourself twiddling your thumbs being bored, or you strike up some conversations with people. And I think, especially if you want to not only improve your communication skills, I think it's also just going to make you more comfortable talking to anybody. I feel like after all the time I've spent abroad, all the random people I've met, for the most part, I feel fairly confident I could go up to almost anyone and strike up a conversation. Whether or not that conversation's good, funny, entertaining, that's a different story. But I could still...
Will this guy leave us alone?
Right, exactly. But that's the other thing. You have to also be aware of... You got to be able to read
Social
people a little
cues.
bit. And that can be difficult.
Yeah. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I can't read social cues. Maybe I need to go see a doctor. I actually... I'm going to a party tomorrow. And it's through a girl I know. So, I wouldn't really call her my friend, but like most parties I go to whenever I'm here in Philadelphia, I'm probably not going to know anyone there. So, we'll see how that goes too. Maybe I'll make a conceited effort while we're there. I totally forgot about it.
Right.
But that's happening tomorrow as well.
I think you should try to chat up some people there.
Okay.
Can I get... Is 2 homework assignments too much? Am I pushing it?
I mean... The homework assignments couldn't get any easier, so I guess not.
All right. Yeah.
One of them is telling me to go get drinks by myself, and the other one is telling me to strike a conversation at a party I'm going to be at. So I guess it's not that difficult.
I think the other trick too, when you go out by yourself and you want to meet new friends, I think if you if you ask enough questions, now you obviously don't want to interrogate the person, right? But if you ask enough questions, what's funny is I remember talking to this guy one time. I'm trying to remember where it was. It was somewhere in Germany. And it was in Berlin. I was in Berlin. I was talking to this guy. And like halfway through a conversation, he said, you're a really interesting guy. And I thought about it after I talked to him.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, he's right. I am interesting.
Right? No, I realized I asked him almost only questions about himself, barely talked about myself, but because
People
the
love
questions were somewhat interesting, he thought I was an interesting guy.
Yeah, well, people, that's hilarious.
Right?
People love that, though. Doing this podcast has actually kind of helped with that a little bit. Sometimes, this is going to sound so dumb, to help me not talk, what I'll do is I'll like pretend there's a microphone in front of my face, and that kind of like helps me like kind of like control my mouth, where it's like talk once the person stops talking.
Right.
Not that I'm good at doing it here, but
I would say you are. I got to improve that, but you definitely are.
But I sometimes that's just what I mentally try to like make it as a game, or because I think as a defense mechanism, I can talk too much and try to make too many stupid jokes and all that stuff. So yeah, that's another great tip is be self-aware.
Oh, definitely.
Does anyone ever use we mentioned how it's easier to date because those dating apps make it easier to strike up conversations and all that stuff. Those dating apps, most of them have like sections where you can just for making friends. Whenever I look at that, I'm like, who's using this? And I was like, I think it works though. I think people use it, but I just look at it and I was like, no one's on here. Who goes to this part of this?
From what I've been told from a few friends of mine who are females, it's generally women.
Oh, shocker.
Right. It's generally women.
They probably love it, though. It actually probably works great for them.
Could be. I mean, the other thing is, though, too, maybe, I don't know. I'm really trying to not be, like, making these broad generalizations here, but I feel like, generally speaking, if you're a guy and you want to meet other dudes, you could easily ask, do you like sports? If they don't like sports, do you like video games? What kind of music do you like? Those three questions, you could probably make a friend with asking any of those three questions in any order. Right? Whereas, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what girls would ask each other. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of girls who are into sports.
Television. They like music, too.
Well, right. But I guess for me, it's like,
we sound so fucking stupid.
I know, right? I know, which is why I should have just not even said anything. But like, I think that's the thing, though, is if you can come up with a couple different conversation topics, regardless of your gender, just, figure out, okay, if I ask this person about this, I might get a good response. Or if I ask them about, sports or music or cars or whatever, then it also, I think, makes you feel more comfortable and willing to put yourself out there more and try to make new friends. Because if you just, if someone like, if you imagine like somebody just pushing you and be like, okay, go talk to him. Like whether it's a romantic interest or just someone you might want to become friends with, you like go up there and you're like, I don't know what to say.
Hey.
Right, exactly. So I think if you can come up with a couple ideas of some potential things you would want to talk about, might help you pay a lot of dividends.
You know what I've seen a lot of people do? And I can never imagine doing this for some reason. But have you ever seen the move where, say, you're at a bar or something and you're having a conversation with someone and someone next to you overhears what you're talking about and replies to you or answers you?
Oh, I do that.
I would never do that. I almost feel like embarrassed for them to find out that I've been listening. Like I'm like, I don't want you to think I've just been even though we're all sitting right next to each other. Like I'm sitting just as close to the person next to me as I am the person I'm talking to.
You just gotta have a bit of a wood face and you're good.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. First I gotta put my feet in the jaka. And that'll help cultivate the wood face. Actually, putting your feet in jaka does not help because then you're just going to come off like a sloppy idiot, more likely. No, that's very true, I guess. I always felt like I'd be embarrassed for them to find out that I've just been listening in. And they would be like, hey, you just listening to our conversation? That's what's going on?
But I feel like
It's like if you're trying to talk about some secret, don't do it at a bar.
Right.
I guess.
But I feel like a really easy retort to that would be like, if you just said something like, "Hey, I know this is weird. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but blah blah blah."
Right.
Because I think if you
and people have done it to me too.
Right.
And I've maybe once been annoyed.
Well,
but it's
go ahead.
But it was more just because they wouldn't shut up after the fact, not because they interjected initially.
Right. And that's exactly what I wanted to say. The big key there is, once again, like trying to read some social cues and realizing, okay, either I'm talking way too much or they're getting annoyed or whatever. But the other thing is too, especially if you're at a bar and you strike up some type of small talk, basic conversation with those people, later on in the night, if they're still at the bar, like I've had a couple guys that I met outside of we were waiting in line, actually at a club, and I struck up a conversation with them. They were these British dudes. This was also in Berlin. They were super cool. British guys are also like the bee's knees if you're trying to go out and have a good time. Make yourself some British friends. You will never be bored. You might
but you might be slipping on
That's
gator
true.
piss.
You're gonna have some wooden teeth the next day. But other than that, life will be good. But anyway, so I struck up a conversation with these guys, and I was with a friend of mine. And then we go in and we kind of go about, do our things. And then eventually, I saw the British guys and went up and was like, "Hey, like, how's it going, guys?" And we had a nice little conversation. Then they just bought me a beer.
Oh, nice.
So I think it's one thing if you are that guy or girl and you realize like, oh no, I'm being super annoying or super weird, the vibe's really weird, then maybe I wouldn't try to talk to him again. But if you leave it on a somewhat positive note, I mean, it doesn't hurt to like just give them a "Hey, what's up" later on, or even like a subtle head nod. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and especially if they bought you a drink, where it's like, well, so they're not going to be like, oh, they're not going to be put off by you saying "what's up" later,
Right?
Because the rapport has been set.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, a lot of this, unfortunately, has been also centered around drinking and alcohol.
Right.
I mentioned activities like the sports and stuff, but I think that's an unfortunate truth. And I wonder, maybe this will be farther down the road, but like, one of my coworkers, the one I work closely with, when he first moved here, he asked if there was like any sort of like coworker happy hour events, and I told him, I was like, if so, no one's told me about them.
Right.
But him and I still work closely together, and I sometimes I think about like asking him to hang out or something, because he lives maybe 15 minutes in like a close neighborhood to me. But I'm like, nah, it's a little weird.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say,
he's open to it.
Just, if somebody were to ask you that, I feel like I would want to say, let's just make one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, this happened like a year and a half ago, but
Right.
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, that was the farthest thing from my mind, because
Right.
I didn't want to actually hang out with a bunch of coworkers.
True. That's
at
true.
once. But yeah, all right. Well,
That's true.
do you have any more tips?
I do.
This was very useful.
The other thing, you mentioned a very, very important point, which is a lot of this has been centered around like going to bars or clubs where there's alcohol involved. And I would like to give our listeners out there some tips where alcohol does not need to be involved, because I think it's also important to do other things.
I think alcohol is a crutch.
It can be. And I think
A social crutch.
Exactly.
Or lubricator.
Exactly.
But crutch as well.
Most definitely. But I think the reason why we talked about them so much is because those situations are all kind of considered social situations, right? If you're at the bar or you're at a club and somebody starts talking to you, you're not going to be like, why are they talking to me? Generally
like,
speaking.
isn't this why?
Right.
You like, this is part of the reason why you go out, is to be social.
Exactly. But there are other ways to be social. As you mentioned, clubs or activities are great. I'm lucky that at my school, I actually facilitate a couple different clubs after school, which has been really great. And I've really become close with quite a few of my students. The other thing too, though, especially if you're abroad, if you're in a big city abroad, I would look for expat groups. I'm sure in Berlin, there's got to be an expat group. I'm sure, in Paris, there's most definitely one. A lot of these big cities, even small cities, just Google expat group, where, insert city here, and you should be good. And I think the other thing is you also have to be willing to, if you go to any events, be willing to talk to whoever, stay open-minded, and also don't be afraid to either tag along or try to make friends with a friend of a friend, if that makes sense.
Yes, which was the guy that my neighbor that I'm friends with. He was a friend of a friend, kind of, actually.
Right.
And yeah. And now it's so funny with that guy. Now, like, I've seen him once in the grocery store, but this was like when during our active friendship. So it wasn't weird, but now I'm like, it's interesting that I haven't, like, we're neighbors, so we shop at the same places, we walk around the same areas. Like, it's weird that I haven't seen you since, and I'm terrified too.
Right.
Because it's like we haven't talked in like 8 months or whatever.
I think you just need to break the ice, man. I mean, all you got to do is be like, look, man, I've just been really busy, and I'm sorry I haven't reached out.
I'm thinking about you. Oh.
I mean, you could say that too.
You've been on my mind.
But yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention that you made a really good point earlier that we should have talked about a little bit more, which is find a language buddy. For me, I'm lucky I have a couple teachers at my school who have been teaching me Czech. But if I had a more serious out of school language buddy, I'm sure my Czech would be a lot better. It's a great way to make friends. And you can do a lot of cool things, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be just go to the bar and get a beer. You could get dinner. You could, for me, since I would, now I wouldn't really say I'm very new to Chomutov because I've been living here for 4 months and I know my way around. But earlier on, it would have been a great opportunity to see new places around where I live. And for anybody moving to a new place, that's always a great idea. And for you, it might be, obviously you're not abroad, but meet somebody who's, what's the correct word for someone from Philly? A Philadelphian?
I think so, yeah.
So look, for you could find a Philadelphian and, check out some really cool parts of the city that you might not have seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think, I as I mentioned, the Meetup app, I have it. I've never really even opened it or looked at it. That I think I'm going to make personally, I know you've given me 2 homework assignments, but I think finding a language buddy is going to be at the top of that list. One, because...
Should be, as it should be.
One, because I think it would be useful to meet new people. 2, I would like to keep my German up. And 3, I'm partial host of the Untranslatable podcast where we talk about languages. I'd feel like a phony if one day I showed up to this podcast and I couldn't even speak a lick of German anymore.
Right. That's true. That's a really good point. Very, very good point. Yeah, I would agree with you.
I got to keep it up for the people.
And I think the other thing, too, with a language buddy is, like any good budding friendship, you need something, some common ground, right? And with a language buddy, it's very easy because you're both, giving each other not only language knowledge, cultural knowledge, and things like that, but you can also do that with anything in life.
I have another tip, and this is a tip that I need to work on personally. You kind of mentioned that you have nothing to offer and stuff, but I think separate than that is don't think you're not interesting.
Right.
Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid. I know sometimes it's hard, but don't be afraid to even brag about yourself or talk about yourself. And I'm not saying overly talk about yourself, but if someone asks, say, what you do or what you're into, don't that's not the time to get shy or humble. Be honest and say it. And because a lot of times I don't like talking about my job. I don't really talk about the fact that I speak German really. Because I just don't find it interesting. But every time I bring up someone asks me, oh, what do you do? I'm like, just car stuff. It doesn't really matter. But then I'll go into it, oh, what are you talking about? That's interesting.
Right.
And I'm like, I guess so. It doesn't seem like an interesting topic to talk about my job.
Right.
But it's if someone wants to ask, then trust them that they want to ask, and don't tell them why they why they shouldn't be interested in something that they asked you. Because I think I do that in a self-defense sort of way. I tell them why what they're asking me is not important or whatever. Or it's just answer them.
100%. And the other thing is, too, for you, it's normal because it's your daily life, right? But for a lot of these people, it's almost like you're painting a picture, you're telling them a story, And so I think it's really important to not be too critical of yourself. And also, when people ask you these questions, I would also say don't take the conversation too seriously, unless that's the vibe you're getting from the people you're talking to. But generally speaking, keep it light, have fun with it. Don't be afraid to toss a couple jokes in there. And yeah, I think, obviously this is a blanket statement, but I think everybody has some interesting story or something to offer, whether it's a conversation or even a friendship, And the last point I want to mention, because we could be going on for hours about this, but the last point I want to mention is,
I'm taking notes here.
Right. The last thing I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to this as well.
Why am I taking notes? It's recorded.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm going to edit it later and listen to it again anyway.
Right. But the other thing I would mention too, especially when you're abroad, you have a very unique opportunity to play as I like to call it, kind of the dumb foreigner card, where it's like, oh, teach me about your culture and your language. And people love that. Like, I remember having exchange students in the United States at my high school, and, I would take them to, we'd go get a coney dog, refer to our Michigan episode if you don't know what that is.
That's common here, too. I mean, people do that a lot here, too. It's like, new to Philly, need a tour guide or something like that.
Right.
And sort of use that as a icebreaker.
Give me that Philly cheesesteak, bro.
Right. I'll give you that Philly cheesesteak.
Also, on a side note, you should check out couch surfing. There are usually some cool meetups. They're a lot of fun. And I've met people from all over the world. And I've only gone to 2 or 3 couch surfing meetings, so I haven't even been to that many. And I think I've met at least people from at least 3 or 4 continents.
I mean, the one clearly the one that you went to that you told me about involving, finding that place was already. It seems like that one encounter already made the website worth it.
Oh, for sure. 100%, without a doubt.
I just downloaded it, so I'll check that out.
Nice.
And I'll actually set up my my Meetup account as well, because I downloaded it saying I'm going to find a language buddy. Then that was weeks ago, and the app's just been sitting there on my phone.
No better time than now, Jared. That's for sure. Well, Jared, an important part of friendship, though, is being there for somebody through the thick and thin, through all the good times and the hard times. Mm-hmm. And that brings us to our song of the pod this evening.
Yeah. I mean, this is a classic song. I'm sure a lot of you have heard it, but this is a great rendition. Do you know about this guy or about this, what this is? Because the song is Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that song.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah,
that's actually really risky for me to just try to sing along with you, because this is over. We're not. That was probably not on.
Right.
Not together.
Could
anyway,
be.
I'm gonna be real. Anyway, so yeah, but it said that the group or the song was presented by Playing for Change.
Correct.
What is that?
So Playing for Change, from my understanding of it, is an organization. I believe. I don't know this 100%, but I believe they have donated to charities. I could be wrong about this. I do know one of their missions, though, is to show the power of music globally and the way that music breaks down boundaries and overcomes distances between people, which I also think is a mission here at the Untranslatable podcast, which is one of the reasons why I thought this would be such a great pick for this episode.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That was great.
and the cool thing about it is you have artists from all over.
Yeah. So do you know about this guy?
Which guy?
The guy that sings "Stand By Me."
You mean the guy that starts the song?
Yeah.
No.
It's just
go ahead.
You don't know about any of them. They just kind of put it together.
Exactly. And I have no idea how they find these musicians. None of it. I just know it's an amazing rendition of the song. There's a ton of different instruments.
Okay, I was a little confused on what this whole thing was, but I get it now, because I even went to the website, and it didn't really. I was still a little confused. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? But I get it.
Can you give us a little more information from the website?
Let's see. I'm looking at the website right now, but I'm trying to find if there be anything worth telling you about. So there's a band, there's a bunch of musicians. They say, here's a section here called Meet the Musicians. And I believe this is a Brazilian thing.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
The PFC band, Playing for Change band, includes some of the best musicians that we met throughout our journey recording and filming music around the world. The result is a unique fusion of influences, talents. Oh, geez, I'm so sorry. This beer of the pot is getting to me a little bit. And streets to the stage. Wait, excuse me. Influences and talents from streets to the stage to the hearts of the people. Here are some of the musicians that perform with this. So some of the musicians. Okay, so this, I believe that's the guy that does the Stand By Me song.
Okay.
Or the beginning of the Stand By Me song. There's a lot of them. Yeah, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18 PFC musicians.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's a Brazilian. It looks like it's at least Brazilian based because you could put it in Portuguese, but it's the website in Portuguese, but specifically a Brazilian flag.
Okay. So what are your impressions of the song itself, Jared?
I mean, I like it. I don't know if it was the video or just the song itself, but it did make me a little emotional.
Oh, dude, I get teary-eyed every time I watch any of the Playing for Change songs. It's like guaranteed.
Yeah, I was like, is it just that the song itself is like an emotional song, like Stand By Me, or is this something about this rendition of it that's doing it?
It's both.
But yeah, okay, because it definitely made me a little emotional. It was powerful just watching it. But then other than that, it's just I don't know. It's a classic good song, and I like watching. It really like it's you know, you and I do this where we like to find, like we try our hardest, I'd say most times, not to just find like the biggest artist we can find, like some giant artist that everyone knows about. You know, we've done that.
Right.
But I think a lot of times, at least me personally, I like to find stuff that I'd assume most people aren't familiar with. And it's always fun for me to like look at street, like even if I'm in, for example, New Orleans, and you're stumbling upon like 10-year-olds playing a trumpet, and it's like, whoa, like it's cool to find just like amazing musicians in all parts of the world that you'd never really even think about. And then also it makes me think about how many people are famous and not worthy of it based off of their talent, and how many people are super talented and that you'll never even hear about. No, and that
definitely
they'll go away in obscurity. And I mean, that's life, but it is also, I mean, it makes me want to find the less popular stuff, because the popular stuff will always be there for your consumption.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're usually not here to just provide the pop hits that everybody knows.
Right. Right.
I gotta say, one of my favorite parts of this song is the slide guitar. There's some amazing slide guitar here. I mean, there's so many talented musicians on this song alone. It's really amazing.
I agree. I'm looking at the slide guitar right now. Is that Chaz?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I believe they might be in New Orleans.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. I was gonna say that kind of looks familiar in the background, but yeah. So that's a perfect example of what I was just saying.
Right.
People in New Orleans. But yeah, I thought it was great, and it was powerful. It as I said, made me cry one single thug tear, and it's a great song of the pod, and it's great for this episode because I think, I mentioned how like. I think in general I'm an introvert and I'm naturally kind of a loner, so I'm comfortable in that. But it's important to remember that like you need to have people there by you. My cousin's in town this week. She's from Colorado, but she's here for work, and we went to go get dinner the other day. And I was telling her how I don't have any friends and all that stuff, and only because she asked. She said, "Hey, how's it going?" I don't have any friends. So she was talking about if I had any friends. I was like, not really. And And I forgot where I was going with that. I totally forgot where I was going with that. So
Being sad. Oh, having someone to stand by you.
Oh yeah. And I told her that like I'm like comfortable with it, and they're like, yeah, I'm kind of used to it though. Like I'm generally prefer to be alone, or like I'm one of those people that gets excited when people cancel plans and stuff. But it does not seem sustainable. She asked me, she's like, so what happens if you like injure yourself or get straight or your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere? And I'm like, you know what? I've thought about that and I have no answer to that.
Right.
And I mentioned that I mountain bike and I've often fallen and wondered, what if that fall was the one that caused me to like break my ankle or something? How am I going to drive my manual car? Like, I have no help or no assistance, and I'm kind of on my own. And it's like, even though I'm comfortable and I don't feel like I'm going crazy or anything, I don't feel like I don't cry. I'm not depressed, but like I do wonder. It's like it's not sustainable just for like daily sort of life incidents that come up.
Right. We all need somebody.
It's very useful to have someone to at least be like, hey, could you pick me up from the airport, for example, or my car broke down. Can you come pick me up on this freeway in the middle of nowhere?
Exactly. And I'd be there for you in a heartbeat, buddy, but unfortunately there's an ocean in between us. So.
Hop on a flight, rent a car, drive it to me, and pick me up.
Exactly. Exactly. So we hope you enjoy our song of the pod, Stand By Me. It's fantastic. Stand By Me, Playing for Change. It'll be on our Twitter, Untranslatable1. Check it out. It's absolutely fantastic. Well, Jared, sticking with our friendship theme today, I picked one of the coolest Czech words I've learned, which I've seen a lot of my students now use on social media. And that word is kamo. And no, it doesn't mean camouflage. Kamo is, I believe it originally is a slang term for kamarad, which means friend, right? But kamo is basically the Czech term for bro.
Nice. That makes sense, though, if it is based off of kamarad.
Right. And I have to give a big shout out to my kamo, David, who was on the pod a while back, because he had taught me, brater is the Czech word for brother. And he used that on some Czech people, and they're like, yeah, don't say that. They're like, that's not what we say. And they taught him kamo, and then he taught me kamo.
That's kind of like saying, hello, brother.
Right, exactly.
You sound like a cop.
So for all of you people out there who need to express your bromances, the Czech word you need is kamo. K-A-M-O.
Yeah.
Kamo.
And shout out to the originator of this drop.
That's right. All right, so now, Jared, it is that beautiful time for Joke of the Pod. This one is, I'll say it's like a half original. I took a joke and I've changed it a little bit.
Improved upon it.
It's a half original. So, Jared, why did the guy change his name on Facebook to Benefits?
Because his complicated section didn't really fully convey his feelings.
Not quite.
I don't know.
So whenever somebody adds him, he can say that he has friends with benefits.
I knew it had something to do with friends with benefits.
Yeah.
I just couldn't put together what it would be.
Right. So that was the joke of the pod for today. And now it's come to that time to give all of our listeners out there a quote of the pod. And I have one today from Amit Kalantri, who is a writer.
Who dat?
And his quote is, two kinds of people have many friends. One with a bank balance and another with boldness.
Shots fired.
Right?
So he's essentially saying fake friends.
Yeah. Well, either
Don't
you
fall
have
for
fake
fake
friends
friends.
if you got that bank balance, or you have real friends if you have that boldness.
Right. Where it's like, I'm presenting myself, not my bank account.
Exactly. And I think that really plays on a lot of things we've discussed today in this episode. You know, you got to be bold, you know? Got to be bad, got to be stronger.
Who sings that song?
I have no idea.
Gotta be bold. You gotta be strong.
no
you
idea.
gotta be wise.
But yeah, that came right to my mind.
I can't find my way. Who sings that song?
I don't have the slightest idea. But it's true. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Meet new people.
I think it's All Saints. I'm sorry. I gotta look it up.
Go ahead. It's killing me. I want to hear what it is as well.
Desiree? I'm gonna play this, but I'm not gonna play it fully just so I can hear a bit of it. Oh yeah, I've never even heard this. It's yeah, you hear it?
Oh, yep.
All right, that's a good song.
It's a
You gotta be
classic.
bold.
It's a classic. So that's right. So don't be that friend that you only have your fair weather and your fake friends because of your bank balance, but be bold. Don't be afraid to meet people, whether it's at a club, a social event. Check out Couchsurfing, Meetup, get a language buddy. There are so many options. And I think that if you are able to make friends while you're abroad or you move anywhere new, it's really a great way to start to feel at home wherever you may be. So we really hope this episode has been helpful for all of you out there. And you can make some meaningful friendships in the very near future. Try out some of our tips. Let us know how they work at Untranslatable, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Untranslatable
Slipping on gator
podcast on
piss.
Instagram and Untranslatable1 on Twitter. We would love to hear from you. We hope you all can make some awesome friends in the near future, whether it's at home or abroad. So thank you very much. We've enjoyed this episode and hope you've enjoyed it as well. And we will talk to you next time. And here at the Untranslatable podcast, we would like to say, Děkujeme.